quite an accomplishment. We saw it in the video. Peter, 30 years, 11 million donors registered, 95,000 blood cancer patients finding their match. Tell us a little bit about how this journey all began.
Well, let's first start with pointing out that 95,000 people is the size of Albany, so we saved Albany. That was maybe a pun, unintended. No, I think this journey started with a terrible moment when my daughters and I found out that their mother had breast cancer. That was 3 years before she came down with leukemia. So we went through, as a family, through a horrible period of recurring illnesses, treatments, and it was a nightmare in many ways. But the leukemia topped everything else. This is a very vicious form of blood cancer that my wife came down with, and it became very clear very quickly that there would be no cure, no conventional cure for her. So we needed to find a bone marrow donor, at that time a very novel form of treatment for blood cancer. Unfortunately, there were no donors. In Germany in particular, we had only 3,000 donors in all of Germany. And so everybody said, okay, well, she can only be saved by a bone marrow transplant. There's no donor, so she's going to die. And my girls and I said, no way, we're going to fight. And that's when we started. We started DKMS. And although Germans had tried for many years, thank you. And so within a few months, we found 69,000 donors, among them one for my wife, Mechtild.
But not a good one.
Not a good one.
It wasn't a good match.
It wasn't a good one. But I mean, she did then get a transplant. She survived for 120 days, and then she relapsed. And for the last 30 days of her life, she knew that she would be dying. And at that time, it was the best and the most horrible time in my life, these 30 days. We were together from 9 o'clock in the morning until 11 in the evening. And she only once cried for about 10 seconds. Apart from that, she gave me courage, she gave the girls courage and strength, and she instilled in us the need to fight on, to make sure that other patients of blood cancer would not have the same problem that she had, not finding the appropriate donor and therefore dying. So in many ways, we turned as a family the worst adversity one can imagine into a positive contribution to society.
And you two had a beautiful love story. You really moved mountains to save Mechtild. Tell
Absolutely.
us a little bit about how your love was so special.
Well, I mean, she was a very special woman. I mean, I met her when we were both 16 years old, and we stayed together for 29 years. So it's a classic, childhood sweetheart. And for me, it was the only woman that I really, loved. And when she got sick, first with the breast cancer and then with leukemia, it was very clear that we need to move mountains to help her. But that's true generally speaking. I mean, every patient has a right for a second chance at life. And we will not rest until every patient with blood cancer gets this second chance of life.
Beautiful. So inspiring. And Katharina, you were so young when this was all started to save your mother. What do you remember from that time?
I remember extreme pain and being horrified. And but my dad, he was very honest about telling us that this was very serious, that leukemia was very, very serious. And then it became clear, like he said, that the only chance was to find a donor. And he moved mountains, and it was so public, all over Germany. Our pictures, were there, and I was like, I have to admit, I was really embarrassed. People would look at my sister and I, and we were so big in Germany that they would look at us and then kind of like make the sad face. But then I have to say, my mom started fighting. And my mom, even though she was very sick, came to like a donor drive in Berlin. And she was sorting blood tubes, sitting there. And I think, she probably knew that this was not going to be for her. But it took a very long time to test donors then. And then I think my sister and I both said, oh my God, if she's doing it, who cares about us? And I know one day we came back from this radio station, and she was like doing her nails and waiting for the radio station, and she had it on the wrong channel, So Victoria and I were on a radio station. We were like so nervous, and then we came home, and she said, "Oh no, I missed it, but I'm so proud of you guys." So I think that's what I remember most. That moment when she was just proud.
Thank you for your sharing and your candor with all of us. And Peter, you started this as this deeply personal mission, and now, as we saw in the video, it's become this huge global organization. So give us more of a sense of how big it's become and what you're doing in so many countries.
Well, as you saw in the video, we are in 7 countries, and we're not stopping there. We really would like this to be a truly global company, and we're doing it, we're setting it up the same way we are setting up companies. Whatever we do seriously, whether it's in the profit field or in the non-profit field. For me, there's only one way of operating. That is really solving the problem and solving it at scale. It's just so easy to feel good about yourself if you're helping a few people. But this is a serious illness, one of the biggest killers in cancer. And we were, as a family, pushed into this issue, into this problem, and we have set out as a family to help resolve it in our lifetime. That's obviously a very tall bill, and I don't know whether we will be able to eradicate, delete blood cancer in the next 20, 30 years. But we will sure try very, very hard, both with science and with donors.
And your amazing daughter has contributed so much of her life to continuing this mission. Katharina, why is it so important to you to continue this mission that your father began?
So I think, to be honest, I was just going to say my mother was my first inspiration, but my father was my first inspiration because I saw what he did. And outside of all the other work he did, he always made DKMS his priority, and he was involved in day-to-day decisions. And then my mother, of course, is the inspiration, and that's why I started DKMS in the US, because I was like, oh my God, I can feel her more. She's more part of me if I'm doing this work. But then the next step was DKMS became part of who I am, right? So for me now, it's not a choice. DKMS is me. And we have 1,000 employees, so I'm not doing other work, but it's part of who I became. And I love it so much. And we're gonna meet a patient tonight, and when you even feel you have the slightest thing to do with saving one person's life, it gives me so much joy. And I have 2 children. I can't believe I can say 2 now because I have a 2-month-old, and thank you.
Happy news.
Now I can say my kids. It's awesome. But I really want to try to teach my children that the beauty in life lies in helping others, because I really truly believe in it, and I've had so much joy working for DKMS and with you sometimes.
So there's a lot of love and dedication on this stage, but rumor has it things are not always so harmonious. I have to ask, when father and daughter work together, sometimes comically so, what's it like to work with your daughter?
I always find it very harmonious. I think Katharina is once in a while, finding it a bit difficult with a dominant, alpha male father. But I think she's standing up very well, and she tells me exactly what she thinks, and she puts me in my place. So she's doing all right.
I think the problem is that we both want to win, and so we would have like meetings with lawyers, and we start bickering. It's like, no, you are wrong. No, I told you this is the wrong statistic, and they were looking at us like, oh my God, what's going on? But then we would just have fun with it, and we're laughing. And I actually love working with you, and
I love working
you're a
with you.
great teacher. So
Thank you.
let's not stop.
You have done amazing work together, and we want to all congratulate you on 30 remarkable, life-saving years. We're all inspired. Let's give a huge round of applause for the work of Peter and Katharina Harf.